Did you know that the Pokemon Horizons anime has a lot in common with the Pokemon Manga? So much in common that I believe I can predict the next arc of Pokemon Horizons using what I've learned from the Pokemon Manga. Let me explain. In the Diamond and Pearl arc of Pokemon Adventures, 3 protagonists join together to adventure around the Sinnoh region. These 3 are Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Instead of all 3 challenging the gym leaders themselves, the 3 work together as a team for Platinum to win her battles as they journey towards Mount Coronet. Along the way, they get intertwined with Team Galactic and end up working together to thwart their plans. This plotline mirrors Pokemon Horizons in many ways, as Horizons itself has 3 protagonists working together on an adventure, being Liko, Roy, and Dot. Along the way, they got involved with the Explorers and are now working to bring Terapagos to Rakua. Both stories have a lot of the same story beats. Recently in Horizons, Liko, Roy, and Dot have been working in tandem in many battles. They defeated Gita together, and while the fight was well done, I feel as though it's starting to get stale. We've seen the 3 of them battle together numerous times now, and it's getting predictable. They struggle a bit, and then they use their signature moves and Terastallize for the win. And while they have grown a lot in strength, it's hard to believe they can keep up this winning streak. This is why I've brought up the comparison with the Diamond and Pearl chapter of the manga, because something interesting happens about halfway through that arc. Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum realize that they don't have enough time to stop Team Galactic together, so they choose to split up and work on their own. While alone, the 3 start by training individually and catching new Pokemon to build up a team of 6. Once they're ready, they go to take down Team Galactic. If Horizons continues to mirror the plot of the Diamond and Pearl chapter, I do believe that Liko, Roy, and Dot will have to part ways soon. And honestly, I think that's exactly what the show needs. As I said before, Horizons battles are starting to get stale, and the protagonists are starting to fall behind. I believe after the trio collects the 6 heroes, and before the showdown at Rakua, they will need to split up and train on their own. The 3 need to improve their strength, but they also need to train individually so that they can develop unique battle styles. In the manga, the protagonists went to different parts of Sinnoh, but in Horizons, anywhere in the Pokemon world is fair game. So with all of that in mind, here's my prediction for the 5th arc of Pokemon Horizons. Assuming Arc 4 ends with the Rising Volt Tacklers obtaining the 6 heroes, the protagonists will decide they need to train before taking on Rakua, which is where they will split up. I said earlier that they can go to any region in the world, but that's not necessarily true. When it comes down to it, Pokemon is a show made to sell games.
This series is made to sell toys!
Given this, I think they'll only go to regions that can be currently explored on the Nintendo Switch system. Essentially, no one's going to be going to Hoenn or Alola because those are trapped on the Nintendo 3DS, but quite a few regions are still fair game. In these training arcs, the protagonists would have a few goals. Like in the Diamond and Pearl chapter, they'll use this time to fill out their teams to 6 Pokemon each. Furthermore, I'd like for each of the protagonists to find a skill to specialize in and make their battle style unique. I'll start with Liko. Personally, I'd see her training in Kitakami, possibly on Briar's suggestion so that Terapagos can be studied there. Liko's personality revolves around her empathetic abilities, and I think this region is a great place to focus on that. She could take part in an adapted version of Ogerpon's story from the games. I think she'd be able to pick up on the fact Ogerpon isn't what the rumors make it out to be, and she'd work to understand it. This would be a great place to introduce Kieran to the anime as well, but since this arc won't go to Blueberry Academy, his character would be changed a bit. I don't see Liko catching Ogerpon, as she already has a legendary, so maybe in this version of the story, Kieran could actually catch it. No matter what, I think Liko would be able to use her skills to really understand Kieran's point of view as well as Ogerpon's. As for her team, I picked 3 Pokemon from the Kitakami Pokedex that I think could fill out her team in terms of types, fighting styles, and vibes. These are Ribombee, Lampent, and Sliggoo. They wouldn't have to have in-depth capture episodes or personalities, but they'd be great additions to her arsenal. Her previous team members could also get some new tricks and strengths based in this training arc, possibly in the form of new moves. Hatchrim would be used a lot in an empathy-based plotline, and I think it could learn a support move, so I decided on Light Screen. As for Florigato, maybe it could upgrade Magical Leaf to Leaf Storm. I don't see Florigato evolving here, as I think it makes more sense for the group's starter Pokemon to evolve together later on when they reunite, though it is completely possible all of the starters will evolve in their own training arcs. All in all, Liko has a solid plot here in Kitakami, and I think she can really grow as a trainer with this type of arc. Now for Roy, I'd place him in the Galar region. Galar is known to have the most competitive Pokemon League, and I think Roy's plotline would be around improving his absolute strength to the max. He could use his connection to Kabu from earlier in the series and head to Galar to start training with him. Kabu could really help Roy's Crocolore, possibly learning a new move like Flare Blitz. From here, I think Kabu could send Roy to a few other gym leaders to learn from them, culminating in him spending time at Raihan's gym. Raihan would be an intense trainer, making sure all of his team levels up. Speaking of the rest of his team, I settled on 4 new Pokemon for him to catch and add to his absolute strength. Greedent to be a tank, Morgrem as a trickster, Phalanx for coordinated attacks, and Sandaconda as a physical beast. Kilowattrel would also get a major move pool overhaul here and grow a lot. After this training arc, Roy will have enough brute strength to rival anyone. Finally, it's time to talk about Dot. I think her battle style would be similar to someone like Conway's, being analytical and making use of game mechanics. Because of this, I sent her to Blueberry Academy, being a very competitive environment. I'm sure her connections at Naranja Academy could get her in for a program here, where she could learn about things like held items and battle mechanics to improve her technique. Quaxwell could learn to make use of status moves, possibly learning something like Feather Dance. Tinkatuff could use held items, and a possibility I came up with is that it could discover a metal coat to boost its steel-type moves. It could even add this metal coat to its hammer and evolve into Tinkaton with that new powered-up hammer. As for her new team members, I think they'd be Pokemon from the Blueberry Pokedex that find use in competitive play. Blissey as a healer or wall, and Whimsicott to make use of prankster strategies. Alolan Ninetales could also be on the team and make use of Snow Warning as an ability. For her final team member, I added on Alolan Sandslash, which isn't used much in competitive, but with the ability Slush Rush, could complement Ninetales really well. After all, Blueberry is known for double battles. With all of these new tricks, Dot would be prepared for anything the future throws at her. While this is all happening, we could swap between protagonists every few episodes to see where they are. I also think we'd see a bit of what's happening with the other Rising Volt tacklers, with all of them training in their own ways. Freed would be doing research and also sparring between Charizard and Pikachu, and maybe other members could start training their Pokemon for battle as well. After the arc, everyone could reconvene and get ready for their final mission to Rakua to bring Terapagos. Maybe this is a far-fetched idea, but I think there's enough evidence to suggest an individual training arc is exactly what Pokemon Horizons needs right now. Thanks for watching this to the end. This video idea came to me after a voice call with some of my friends in the Pokemon community, Kuro Blitz and Samurai Trainer Z, who are also big fans of the Pokemon manga. Please make sure to check out their channels as well. I hope to see you in the next video.